Welcome to our second episode of WeAre105. Today we will be talking about student and teacher ICKS.
We are 105.
Today I'm here with Miss Hargis, Miss Sunding, and Miss Flamenco. What is the number one thing that drives you crazy in your classroom?
The number one thing that drives me crazy is probably sounds. I hear everything, and I have been known to crash out when I hear tech decks or other sounds.
I get that for sure. Sounds can definitely be very distracting whenever you're trying to focus in a class.
For sure.
My number one ick is when kids call me teacher. Teacher, teacher, teacher. I have a name, Mrs. Sunding. It's not teacher.
I get how that can definitely be annoying.
Well, thanks for having us here today. It's super exciting. My number one ick, especially with my 8th graders, is when they start packing up too soon. It takes them 15 seconds or less, and it's like 1 minute before the bell, and it's like they have an inner clock, and they just want to start packing up, and then they don't have anything to do. So I'd rather they waited till I'm like, hey, let's pack up.
I've definitely seen that drive some teachers crazy. I mean, I guess we do kind of have an inner clock when it comes to packing up. Sometimes you'll just pack up because you don't want to have to do that, right before the bell. Because sometimes we like to get out right as the bell rings to get to the next class. How many times a day do you think you hear your name?
I feel like in a day I hear my name a bajillion times, so much so that sometimes I want to change my name.
I feel like it's just going to be so weird to just hear your name frequently getting called every single day.
Yes, it's a lot. In some classes, I hear it a lot more than others, but I definitely hear it so many times during a day.
I hear it so many times a day. I think by the end of the end of 6th period, I think I kind of zone out on my own name. I kind of forget what my own name is at that point.
Yeah, just getting called the same name over and over would be so frustrating because it's just going to get old.
I hear my name, to be a little hyperbolic, about 1,000 times a day. But what's really great is I get called every other teacher's names and mom all day long. So I respond to anything that's an adult.
Side note, I absolutely love when students call me mom. I'm like, aw. And I always remind them a few days later, remember when you called me mom? Aw. It's the best.
It makes
it's
you
such
feel
an honor.
super special, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And now into our sponsors. GEMS TV would like to thank our platinum and gold level sponsors. Seller Construction, Quality Sheet Metal Heating and Air, Mi Alegria Mexican Antojitos, Lincoln Junior Zebras, Lincoln Museum, Jensen Landscaping, Rockland Swim Team. And now back to our podcast. What's your go-to response when a student says, I didn't get that, but it's the 5th time you've explained it?
When that happens, and it sometimes happens a lot, I try to take a dramatic pause and then calmly respond with, oh my goodness gracious. And I don't even know. I'm kind of blanking on this because when I hear that, it kind of drives me crazy.
I think I usually just tell them, look around. What are your friends doing? You're 14 years old. You can figure this out.
So I think I'm nicer. I start off with, what questions can I answer? But if it's clearly that they're just trying to mess with me, which sometimes, kids want to just get your attention and engage with you, then I'll say, what do you think you should be doing? Right? Just try to have a conversation about it. But inside I'm going, please just focus.
No, yeah, I get that. But sometimes we honestly just don't hear it the first couple times, and it's weird. We'll be paying attention, and then we'll just randomly zone out.
And I will say it doesn't bug me as much, when it's genuine, but when my D1 yappers are yapping away when I'm giving them directions, and then they're like, what are we supposed to be doing? Then I feel like I have less patience.
Absolutely agree with that. Same.
What is the most insane excuse you have heard for a student not doing their homework?
I have a great one. A long, long, long time ago, in another life, I taught fourth graders, and I had a fourth grader tell me, straight faced, I cannot do long division. It is not in my contract.
That's amazing.
I don't think I have any really crazy stories about kids not doing homework.
I can't really think of anything either. I feel like most of the time my 8th graders are more just like, I didn't do it, or I forgot, or I was busy. But as far as like the cliche, oh, my dog ate my homework, I feel like I can't remember any times where I've gotten a crazy excuse.
What is the craziest thing that has ever happened in your class?
Clearly, I have many, many stories. Again, fourth grade, not middle school, because middle school students are so mature. I had 2 little boys come in from recess who had been having a pencil war at recess, and one of them walked in with a pencil stuck in their scalp that was bouncing as they walked. That had to be the craziest thing I'd ever seen. I don't know how it happened, but since he walked in the door like that, I had to call the office and have him walk up to the nurse to have that extracted from his scalp because I was not touching it.
Yeah, that sounds crazy. A pencil war that ends up going into their scalp. That'd be terrible.
And it looked painful.
Yeah, and the fact that they were like coming up like that, that's just crazy.
That's fourth graders for you.
Yeah.
And I bet they got sent back with ice.
Lots of ice, yes.
It's always ice.
I think the craziest time was one day we were doing some experiment and we had some starburst, and we were melting starburst to model as some metamorphic rocks, and so we're melting these starbursts on a hot plate. All of a sudden, it starts smoking more and more. Fire alarm goes off. No. I'm trying to call the office. It's okay. There's no fire. Fire department calls. The entire school gets evacuated. Everybody's out at the playground trying to figure out what's going on. And I'm trying to tell everybody, sorry, it was just me. So probably about the next 2 years afterwards, every time the fire alarm would go off, the office would call my room, Sunding, is that you again? No, wasn't me this time.
I've done experiments with like metamorphic rock like that. And, I mean, it's fun. It's kind of cool. We got to do it with clay. But I feel like Starburst sounds like it's more fun than just heating it up.
Yeah, but melted, burning starbursts did not taste good afterwards.
Yeah, I'd guess that.
For me, I teach 8th grade English, so I mean, a lot of crazy things happen. The most recent one, I guess, is when a student fell asleep and we had the crazy idea to all start clapping to wake him up, and it was kind of funny. I don't know. But it wasn't exactly crazy, but it's just a fun memory.
That'd be super cool. Like as a class trying to wake up someone in there.
Yes, and have you ever heard, like, when you snooze, you lose, but when you take a nappy, you're happy?
Yeah. Into our rapid fire round. Morning classes or afternoon classes?
Morning.
Morning.
Favorite class?
All of them. I have angels.
Like favorite class period this year? Oh, gosh. I don't have a favorite. I think there's good things about all of them.
Yeah, because I teach so many different things. They're all just so interesting, and they all have their own personality. So I definitely couldn't pick one that was my favorite.
Most stressful part of the year?
For sure, when we do SBAC testing at the end of the year.
Graduation.
Yeah, SBAC is super stressful because of that whole you must be quiet for all this time. And you want to support the kids and they have questions and you can't answer them. I hate that so much. But also the last week of school, because everyone is so ready to be finished and excited for summer, that it's just rough.
The best part about being at GEMS?
There's a lot of great things about being at GEMS, but I love the students. That's why I am here.
I'll echo that, the students. I've met so many fantastic students this year. I'm just so excited that I get to be here and be part of their lives.
I love the students also, but I will add that the staff here is amazing and it's a true blessing to be here.
What are you looking forward to most this year?
I think right now I'm really tired, so I would say like spring break. But I always look forward to the end of the year with the 8th grade activities. But at the same time, it's also sad because it's hard teaching 8th grade and like sending them off to high school.
Yeah, I'd echo that. Graduation, again, it's stressful, but it's just the culmination of all year, and you've built such a bond with these kids, and then you send them off to high school, and it's so sad.
Yeah, that will be a big deal. I'll miss my 8th graders for sure. I think I'm also really looking forward to seeing more growth as the semester comes to an end. It's been really fun watching, especially the 6th graders go from being kind of elementary-ish to starting to really be middle schoolers. That's been a lot of fun.
Any other icks you want to mention before we sign out?
Leaning back in chairs.
Ditto to that one.
Yeah, especially when the chairs break. That's a bummer.
That's always why they say don't lean back in your chair, it's gonna break.
And whining and complaining. Oh my goodness, that drives me insane. I always tell my kids the complaint department is closed.
Yeah, I think we do tend to whine and complain a lot because we don't like to, do the schoolwork. That's just not the fun part about it. Well, thank you guys for being here on this podcast. I'd hope you guys would come again. This was a really fun one.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. It was fun.
Welcome back to the WeAre105 podcast. I'm Cadence, and today we're discussing a topic that resonates with every student. What drives us crazy about our classes? I'm excited to have Cameron, Mason, and Sophia joining me to share their thoughts. Let's jump right in. First question. What is the one classic teacher phrase that always makes you roll your eyes?
I think the one classic phrase that the teacher says that I don't really like is "the bell doesn't dismiss you, I do."
Another one is they tell you like when you're talking, they say "I wait."
When they like tell you to stop talking, but then they like when they tell you to stop talking and then they just like start blabbing about random stuff.
That one is so annoying. What is the most frustrating part about a teacher repeating the same instructions 15 times as if we didn't hear it the first 14?
I think it is because like when other people are talking, they think that every other person doesn't hear them, so they repeat it until they focus.
On a more personal note, what do teachers do that drives you absolutely insane?
Tell me to take my hood off.
When they tell me to stop leaning back on my chair and they said it's going to break it, but I don't think it is.
When they tell me to stop talking.
Last question. If you had the power to change anything about the school, what would it look like for you?
I think if they had longer passing periods, it'd be easier to get to your classes, and also it would make it better.
No homework.
Stopping like the 5-star stuff so we don't have to sign up when we go to the bathroom.
Yeah, 5 stars, just infuriating. Right, now it's time for our rapid fire. Let's keep the answers short and sweet. Here we go. First up, morning classes or afternoon classes?
Afternoon.
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 What's your favorite class?
Broadcasting.
Broadcasting.
ELA.
What do you think is the most stressful part of the year?
SBAC testing, because they don't give you as much, they don't help you as much. Like in 5th grade, they would give you gum and stuff to like focus, but now they don't.
SBAC because it takes way too long.
SBAC because it's just quiet and makes you tired.
It does. That's like best sleeping pill. SBAC. And then now, what's the best part about being at GEMS?
I think the best part about being at GEMS is it's close to like everything. Like you could walk to McDonald's and you could like go to the park and then come back to school if you need to for like a basketball game or something.
It's probably the closest school to my house.
I don't know.
It's just local for me. That's kind of nice. Finally, what are you looking forward to most this year?
the end of the school year.
I agree with Cameron, the end of the school year.
My birthday.
And that wraps up our podcast. I would like to thank Cameron, Mason, and Sophia for joining us. Our next podcast is going to be about the new school administration.
Hope you enjoyed our show about Student and Staff ICKS. Tune in next episode when we feature our new admin and talk about the Super Bowl. As always, you can find us on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. Send us your podcast ideas to gemstv@wpusd.org.